Many people ended up buying a resale HDB flat instead of a BTO for various reasons. But everybody wants to avoid paying COV or cash over valuation. Maybe you've heard horror stories about people dropping $30,000, $50,000, or even $100,000 in cold hard cash just to secure a unit. Since COV cannot be covered by your CPF or your HDB loan, it is a massive upfront cost. But you actually don't always have to pay COV and pay whatever the seller asks. Negotiation is an art and it is your best defense. But before we talk about how to negotiate for lower or zero COV, maybe we need to discuss first what is exactly COV. So COV or cash over valuation happens when the sale price of a resale flat is higher than the official valuation of HDB. So for example, let's say the agreed price between you and the seller is $600,000, but the HDB valuation only values it at $570,000. So in summary, you will need to pay for $30,000 COV, which needs to be paid in cash. The tricky part is HDB only does the valuation after the option to purchase or OTP has been granted and the price has been locked in. So you're essentially guessing the value when you want to make your offer. So there are several things that you can do to try to minimize the COV. Number one, please do your homework. With any major purchases, you would definitely check prices first, right? So please do that as well when you want to buy a house. You can go to HDB resale portals where you can look at the transacted prices for exact same block or neighboring blocks in the last 6 to 12 months. And then you also need to consider floor level. A 12 floor unit will always be valued higher than a second floor unit. So don't compare apples to oranges. And then remaining lease also plays a part. If the flat is 40 years old, its valuation won't be as high as a 5-year-old MOP flat. And then my personal tips would be, please do not fully rely on your agent if you are using one. Because remember that the agent's commission is certain percentage times by the amount that you transacted, right? That is how most arrangement works. So actually they are kind of incentivized to make sure that the transaction price is as high as possible. Even if you need to pay, let's say $50,000 COV, your agent actually still benefit from it. So that's a watch out unless you pick a different type of agent, which is like fixed price agent. And then the second preparation that you can do is spot the invisible red flags. So sellers often ask for high COV because they think their renovation is designer tier. But as a buyer, you need to take a closer look. For example, if the seller's luxury renovation is already 15 years old and looks like a time capsule from the 90s, then you would need to spend a lot of money to rip it out. You need to mention this either directly or via your agent if you are using one. Mention that you'll need to spend, let's say, $50,000 on renovation, which makes a high COV hard to justify. And then also try to take a closer look to see any maintenance issues. So for example, look for water leakage marks on the ceiling or cracked floor tiles. These are your bargaining chips. And then another preparation that you can do is to understand the seller's timeline. Sometimes money is not the only thing a seller wants. They might be in a rush, or they might need more time. So use this to your advantage. So for example, regarding the extension of stay, if the seller needs a 3 months temporary extension of stay, let's say because their new house is not ready yet, and you are staying with your family and can wait and not in a rush, then you can offer the extension to stay. Or you can also ask for a trade-off. Let's say I can give you 3 months extension that the sellers need, but in exchange, let's bring the price closer to the market valuation so I don't have to pay so much COV. Often the peace of mind of having a place to stay is worth more to a seller than the extra $10,000 in COV. And then another talk is about cash flow conversation. When negotiating, be honest but firm about your cash position. Tell the seller or their agent, I really love this house, but my cash reserves are tight because I need to set aside money for the renovation and the buyer's stamp duty, etc. Maybe you can mention I can go up to XX amount, but anything beyond that is physically impossible for me to pay in cash. Sometimes humanizing your situation works better than playing hardball. Some sellers are also buyers themselves and understand the pain of cash crunch. And then the next preparation you can do is don't get the fear of missing out syndrome. One of the biggest reasons why people overpay for COV is actually emotion. You walk into a beautifully staged flat, see 5 other couples viewing at the same time, and then you panic. And then you feel that, oh, if I don't bid $40,000 COV right now, I will lose the house. But you need to kind of control yourself because in reality, there are thousands of HDB flats across Singapore. Unless that unit is a super rare jumbo flat or a penthouse with the view of Merlion, it's not really one of a kind. You need to set a walkaway price even before you start house hunting. If the COV feels like it's going to break your bank, then you need to walk away. The moment that you show you are willing to walk away, then the power shifts back to you. Another tips that I could give is that you need to prepare a counter argument even before you start negotiating. So for example, if let's say the sellers argue that they spent $80,000 on the reno, you can say that, okay, it's beautiful, but I need to redo the wiring or piping due to the age of the flat. Or maybe if they are saying, oh, there are many other buyers, you can say that, oh, but I am a serious buyer with my HFE letter ready and can grant you an extension of stay. Or if let's say they say, the market is hot right now, and then you can say, yes, high prices are one thing, but COV is cash out of pocket. My cash budget is firm. By staying calm, doing your research, and looking for a non-cash ways to sweeten the deal, you can try to navigate the COV minefield without burning a hole in your pocket. But if let's say you really found the house of your dream and then you really want it, how much COV is too much? Now that is something that I'm going to discuss in my other video exclusive for members only. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye. To support my work, you can give a one-time tip by pressing the thanks button, pick the amount that you want, and click buy and send. Or you can also press the join button for exclusive contents and monthly membership. Your support means a lot to keep us independent. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.